That was from the last No Kings protest in Columbus, Ohio. Fast forward to today, Donald Trump's approval is absolutely tanking in Ohio. He no longer has any positive favorability ratings. His net approval is -2 in Ohio. And the Democratic candidate for governor in Ohio, Dr. Amy Acton, a beloved local figure there, a beloved doctor in Ohio, is now surging ahead of the MAGA Republican candidate there, Vivek Ramaswamy. And that's after Donald Trump endorsed Ramaswamy in a social media post. Now, the people of Ohio are getting crushed by this Trump regime. Trump may tell them you're in a golden age and your life is incredible, but people in Ohio, like people across this country, unless you're a billionaire, unless you're in that Mar-a-Lago club of Donald Trump, we know that Donald Trump has not made life better or he's made it far worse. So let's just talk about some things that are going on in Ohio. So Ohioans are worried, terrified, in fact, about Donald Trump and this regime destroying their access to health care, especially with the Affordable Care Act subsidies set to expire. Watch this. Let's play it.
And here in Ohio, some will see the jump go much higher. KFF estimates a 40-year-old man making $32,000 a year will see premiums go up more than 200%, or $122 each month, for a benchmark plan that includes minimum health benefits. And get this, a 60-year-old couple will see their plan skyrocket more than 250%, or around $1,500 each month for the plan.
Most people really just can't afford that kind of monthly cost for health insurance, especially people who are at lower or middle incomes to begin with. It's a significant expense for any American family. And it's obviously a concern that people may choose to go without insurance, which has its own downstream implications.
And then the Trump regime has taken aim to destroy manufacturing jobs. And they've done it through their negligence and maliciousness in how they've handled the economy, Trump's tariffs against the world, and Trump's overall economic policies have been a disaster. We've seen job losses rise 54%, over 1 million job losses or so in the past year, kind of reaching the points where it's been like Great Recession territories. And we've seen manufacturing jobs, construction jobs, specifically hurt as well. But you have the Trump regime like going after programs that really help people in Ohio. Like they halted the funding that aids small and mid-sized Ohio manufacturers. Like they're just doing some like despicable things, like as though they hate the people in Ohio, because I think Trump actually does. Here, play this clip.
Ohio manufacturing leaders are sounding the alarm over federal funding cuts. They say it's putting more than 100 jobs at risk and jeopardizing support for 14,000 state manufacturers.
The Manufacturing Advocacy and Growth Network supports small and medium-sized manufacturers. Leaders say this suspension of funds will be devastating to their work.
News 5's Nadine Abasado joins us live this morning outside of the Magna facility in Cleveland with more. And Nadine, do we know why the money was cut?
John, that is the multi-million-dollar question when talking about this. The only reasoning they were given is that there is an audit being done by the Department of Commerce, but they haven't seen the report or given details about what's in it. But let's talk a bigger picture. When it comes to manufacturing, Ohio is third in the nation, with Magnet reiterating that if that money is not restored, the consequences will be very serious. When it comes to manufacturing products, staffing, and growth, the Manufacturing Advocacy and Growth Network, also known as Magnet, has been championing just that for 40 years.
We help the small and medium manufacturers grow, get new technologies, figure out their next new products.
But now that work is in jeopardy. Ethan Karp, president of Magnet, says last Friday they were told $5.9 million in federal and state funding would be halted.
It's incredibly detrimental to the work that we do. $5.9 million you do not replace with any other source immediately.
When they asked why,
there is an audit that will come out in some number of months, and that there are findings there that require suspension.
State officials say they are also in the dark.
All we know at this point that I can share is that there is some investigation going on through the Commerce Department in Washington by their Inspector General about some aspect of this program around the state.
So now I want to bring in Dr. Amy Acton, who is running for governor of Ohio. And we've had Dr. Acton on before, but now things are a little bit different there. Surging ahead in the polls, momentum on her side. The people of Ohio, I think, seeing the contrast between her steady leadership versus Vivek Ramaswamy. He says something and he's like, oh, that was all AI that did it. And he just very frantic. He called the people of Ohio lazy and mediocre. And now let's bring in Dr. Amy Acton. Dr. Acton, it's great to see you running for governor in the great state of Ohio. And there's been some big developments since you and I last spoke. The latest Emerson poll now has you ahead of Vivek Ramaswamy by 1 point there. The field is pretty much clear at this stage in terms of primary situation. And, it's pretty clear that it's a Dr. Amy Acton race versus a Vivek Ramaswamy. And I think as people start to see that dynamic, the reason that you were such a dynamic and incredible candidate with the relationship and trust you built with the people of Ohio during COVID and before then as well for decades, frankly, and now seeing this race between Vivek, this billionaire Trumpy guy who tries to one day pretend he's not MAGA and the next day pretend he's MAGA, and you who's always been Amy Acton, now Dr. Amy Acton. That's the dynamic. So talk to us about what's going on there.
Well, it is a wonderful race that we are in Ohio. And I can tell you that, you're right. I'm a doctor. I am not a lifelong politician, but I am a lifelong public servant. And I've been working with governors on both sides of the aisle to solve the problems of everyday life for Ohioans. And as we shared before, we've been going everywhere, listening deeply for almost 2 years now. Actually, I've been on the road, and Ohioans are struggling like folks are all around this country. They're working harder than ever. They're doing everything right, but there's no more breathing room left. And I'm running because I refuse to look the other way. Well, we have some pretty bad actors and special interests in our state house who have been taking our state backwards on nearly every measure. And, when I say people are struggling, I'm running against Mr. Ramaswamy, who literally famously said in the Christmas tweet that we're struggling because we're lazy and mediocre and not working hard enough. But I can tell you that is not the Ohioans I see. They're dealing with so many pressures and there's no more breathing room.
It's an interesting campaign your opponent is running, Vivek. Usually attacking the people of the state when you're trying to get their vote and saying you are all mediocre, lazy humans. Not interesting tactic. But it seems that when I see a Dr. Amy Acton headline, it's you on the front lines with Ohio manufacturers, you standing with the steel workers. When I see a Vivek Ramaswamy headline, it's him and his camp claiming that him taking down videos of himself or claiming things are AI because what he realizes that he said he didn't say I didn't mean to say it, so they take it down and blame it on AI. It's just he canceled some meeting in Puerto Rico that he was going to go to and said he was going to go there, and I didn't really mean to go there. I don't really even know what's going on. Talk to us though about that dynamic. I think it's an interesting split screen.
I can't say enough. Right now, the people in Ohio are struggling. They're struggling what we just saw in the last election. We heard so much about. It is the cost of everyday living. It is property taxes going up. It is healthcare costs and childcare, housing. And literally, my opponent treats Ohio like a flyover state. He literally will go the 90 minutes from Columbus to Cincinnati in a corporate jet of his own, while I am driving around our state in an old Jeep. And the contrast couldn't be greater. When you love Ohio like I do, and I'm an Ohio girl through and through, grew up in pretty hard conditions in Youngstown, Ohio, the stuff of Springsteen songs, really rough childhood. And my whole career has been about not leaving people and kids and others like me behind, giving everyone a chance. But when you love Ohio, as I do, you don't treat Ohio like a flyover state. When you love Ohio, you don't move your business from Ohio to Texas. When you love Ohio, you don't keep pitting our citizens against one another in endless culture wars that divide us when people are exhausted of the hate and vitriol. And you don't do things like, say, what you are referring to, my opponent has solutions that, frankly, Ohioans intuitively know make no sense. One of them you're referencing is saying that the way we address childcare in our state, which is in crisis right now, is to actually make the school day go from 3 to 4 p.m. And I don't know about you, but that didn't work for me in childcare. We need people who are going to actually solve problems instead of make problems. And we're having real solutions here in Ohio, like trying to expand our Head Start program that we used to fully fund. We need to actually work, as we are doing with our business community, to extend subsidies, and we need a child tax credit in our state. So there are real solutions. Ohioans are longing for people who actually care about the problems of everyday life.
Yeah, because when I observe the campaigns, what I observe is you listening to people also, not just saying what you're going to do, hearing from the people of Ohio. And then it seems like for Vivek, this is yet another vanity project for a bored billionaire, just throwing mud against the wall and seeing if it sticks. Like this op-ed that he wrote at the end of this past week, what does it mean to be an American? And it's like, look, okay, like, just can you help the people of Ohio? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for the people? And I get why he's doing it, because he's trying to, I guess, be cute by half. And look, I'm not with Trump, but I'm with Trump, and I'm not this. He's trying to do that whole shtick, and it's just like, dude, like that's not what the people of Ohio are thinking about right now. Enough is enough.
I think people all over this country probably have a good idea of Mr. Ramaswamy, but definitely in Ohio, I found it very disingenuous. I absolutely couldn't agree more. He was making a point. The fact that my opponent is Hindu has absolutely nothing to do with this election. No one's religion has anything to do with the problems of everyday Ohioans. But this is coming from somebody who literally has spent his life writing books, running his businesses, and purposefully creating culture wars, purposefully pitting us against one another. And I can't say this enough. I travel this state everywhere. We see incredible crowds of people showing up. They don't know, the crowds we see do not know party. We're seeing tons of independents and Republicans showing up too. When you're a doctor, you don't think about party. I've never thought about party in that way. I've always been solving problems. But people are exhausted of being purposefully pitted against one another. The chaos, the hate, and the vitriol, it needs to end. And what people are longing for in my state, and I'm sure all over this country, are people who are public servants again. They don't much even care what party you are. They want to see you solve the 95% of things that we all agree on that need solved, that affect our day-to-day life. And this is no longer, and this is something I'm seeing as well in a state like Ohio, it's not a Democratic or Republican thing I'm seeing. Everyone knows now that this is extreme wealth, power, ideology, and special interest against everyone else. That is what is at stake. And I think all of that's coming to a head in states like mine in Ohio. We're going to be a bellwether again, pushing back on these extreme agendas.
Before we go, where can people learn more about your campaign?
Thank you so much. Please come join us in this fight. I'm up against a self-funding billionaire with friends like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. And, I'm so proud of what we're doing in Ohio. A real movement is building at actonforgovernor.com. Acton for Governor. Please come join us. We could use everyone's help as we do everything just like you to put a light on what is happening and take back the country so that good people help do the work we need to do. And I can't thank you enough, Ben. Thanks for all you're doing. And I just wish everyone out there really, really great holiday season. And there's going to be a lot of light in the new year. And I'm glad to be in this fight with everyone. Thank you.
Dr. Amy Acton, running for governor of the great state of Ohio. Thank you.
Be well.
Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.